Greetings, this is Sarah Rushlow on behalf of Baker Hunt's Art and Cultural Center, here to bring you another fun and exciting art tutorial. Well, let's get started. Today we are going to be doing landscapes and stenciling. First things first, we get our paper, our watercolor pencils, paint brushes, watercolor paint, water container, water, and then we're going to get some scissors, some painter's tape, and some scrap paper. You can use something other than painter's tape, just try to make it make sure it's gentle on paper. You don't want to tear it. Alright, so let's get started. Let's get our paintbrush and let's get it wet with our water and paint your entire piece of paper with water. Really easy. If you're having trouble telling if you've missed a spot, look at your paper from an angle. You'll see it's shiny in places where the water is, and it's dull in areas where you might just need to add a little more water. Right. You don't want it sopping wet, but you also don't want it bone dry. Kind of where it's shiny, but you can start to see the grain in the paper, those little ridges in the paper. All right, so get your paint when you're all wetted up. Go ahead and get your paintbrush wet again. Choose your blue, and choose this light blue here, and I'm going to paint a line going right down the middle of my painting. That's going to be the horizon line. And it's okay if it's not a perfectly straight line. Horizon lines rarely are. They're normally kind of wavy, curvy. Horizon line is where the land disappears into the horizon. You can see the sky. So basically where the land meets the sky. And you're going to paint all the way above that line to the top of your painting. Once that blue is painted, you're going to take one thing you can do to make clouds is you can take your paper, you can take your paper towels, crinkle it up into a little ball, and you can press into that still wet surface and leave some clouds in the horizon. So there you have some clouds. Once you've done that, take your brush again, get it wet, rinse it out, and you are going to take your brush and you are going to get your green wet. Once you've done that, you go back to your horizon line with your blue and you paint over it with green. And it's okay if the blue and the green mix a little bit. Blue and green tend to mix on a horizon line anyway. And if you want to make your horizon line in the foreground or at the bottom of your painting, bottom edge of your painting, you can take your paintbrush and get it wet again and mix it with either a yellow or a light green. And you're just going to put that yellow or light green in the bottom part of your painting. Makes it pop a little bit more. Alright, so now you're going to have that green in the foreground. Once you've done with that, you might want to take a break and go check out our website, Baker Hunt Art and Cultural Center. Please be sure to like our web page, Facebook page, and Instagram. Seems real simple, but it really helps us out. And hopefully when you get back, your painting is going to be relatively dry. You're going to take a piece of scrap paper, your scissors, and your painter's tape. You're going to cut a hill out of your paper, and you're going to turn that hill upside down, tape it above your painting, and you're going to just flip it down over your painting, and that's going to be your stencil. Now you're going to take your paintbrush and give yourself some flowers. Now flowers in the foreground, colors that make things pop in the foreground are oranges and reds. So I'm going to get myself some orange. and I'm going to get my paintbrush wet, and right now I am going to flick my paint and my paintbrush with the wet paint on it. I'm going to flick it at the canvas to make those flowers. You can use red too. There you go. So hopefully, if you've done it right, your orange will end up in the foreground and not in the background, but still have that irregular pattern of flicked paint. All right then, so now let's lift our stencil, see how we did. And there we go. We've got some orange and yellow in the foreground, and then some green in the background, and some sky. Now, we're going to, if you want, in the midground, so like between the horizon line and the foreground, you're going to draw, you can draw or paint a tree. I like to use watercolor pencils to do some of this small detail work because it dissolves in water, so you can get rid of those telltale pencil lines, but it also is, gives me the control of a pencil that sometimes you don't have with a paintbrush. You can draw your tree any way you want. This is how I draw my tree. I'll be interested to see what everybody else does with it. Can add some leaves to my tree. Now I can leave my painting like this, or I can go back in with a paintbrush and add some detail. Notice how those pencil lines are disappearing now? You even have some texture in that bark. And then I'm going to add some green to those leaves. And I'll be just about done. Now you're going to wait for your paint to dry. Now you're going to wait for your paint to dry. And you should have finished your painting. If you want to come back to it later and look, and when it's all dry, you should be done with your painting. Well, that's about it for now. This is Sarah Rushlow on behalf of Baker Hunt Art and Cultural Center, here to tell you to stay safe, stay creative, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.